Here's what's cooking on today's Sports Stove Local Hour. We are talking recap from Cincinnati and a preview of Kentucky EKU coming up this Saturday. That's what's cooking on today's Sports Stove podcast.
McKinney looks, steps into pocket, throws, open receiver, touchdown! Colonels, we're not done yet!
Our identity is we're going to press for 40 minutes, we're going to play up-tempo, we're going to play with unbelievable passion, and then our brand is the most exciting 40 minutes in sports.
Welcome in to an all-new edition of the Sports Stove Local Hour. Today, we are presented by IPM Pest and Termite, like Central Kentucky's neighborhood pest professionals. If you live in Central Kentucky and you have ants, spiders, centipedes, what else is going on these days? Stink bugs, whatever it is, you need to call IPM Pest and Termite. And they're going to take care of you. Tell them the Sports Stove sent you. I'm your host, Vince Stover, joined by the one and only Captain Rhino, Ryan Jackson. Ryan, how you feeling, man?
I feel all right. Body's a little sore, a little tight, but I feel good.
Is it tougher recovery week one or tougher recovery at the last game of the season?
Ooh,
physically speaking.
That's tough because I feel like both are kind of taxing. The first game is probably easier because you don't have multiple games stacked on top of you of trying to recover. But I do remember recovering after those last couple games, and yeah, that's tough too. I can't. That is probably the last game, I would say.
Yeah. Cincinnati came and went. Definitely didn't go the way you hoped it would. Final score 66-13. That being said, as we talk about Cincinnati, and I really felt like, especially early on in the game, you guys defensively held, and then it was like one broken play, like one big play, and then they scored. Then the next possession, same thing, held, and then one big play, score, and then before too long, it was already kind of out of hand. But my thinking was, I know what the score says, but it's not as bad as what the score says if you could take away a couple mistakes.
Right. Cincinnati's obviously they kicked our tail. They came out and definitely beat us. We gave up a lot of stupid little mental mistakes, but you can't do that against the best. That's one thing I'm mad that we didn't play our best game. We didn't put our best foot forward. And like my dad likes to tell you can't beat the champ without actually like beating the champ. You have to go out there and play a perfect game. And unfortunately, we just couldn't do that. And one led to another, and they just kept piling up.
They did. We talked about it before, last week. They have Florida transfer in at quarterback Emory Jones. He played really well. He set his personal record, I think, for touchdowns scored. But he threw the ball 19 of 23, 345, 5 touchdowns. But you guys the run defense was really solid. Not just against the running backs, but even when Emory Jones would get out and scramble. Overall, he had the one touchdown run that was just, it looked like you guys were really tired. Outside of that, I thought you guys contained the run really, really well. Were you guys proud of how that went?
Like you said, maybe like the little moral victories, I guess, it's cool to know that we can have the ability to stop the ball like that. But everything's disappointing when it comes with a loss. Yeah. No matter how many yards, no matter what the numbers really look like, you're still going to be mad. I do like how we did come out and attack the run. I'm glad we didn't stray away from it because Cincinnati's a running team, or the coach and the scheme is mostly heavy. So that was good to see that they couldn't just run all over us. But we definitely can still do better, and there's definitely more things we can improve on.
Yeah, they had one long run, 54-yard run. Outside of that, and again, the Emory Jones touchdown where he kind of rolled right and then cut back all the way across the field. That was it just looked like you guys were really tired at that point. You'd been on the field a lot there in the first half. But nonetheless, like I said, I don't think the score tells the story. I think there's they obviously beat you guys, but I don't think, especially in the first half, I really felt like you guys played a lot better than it looked on the scoreboard. And kind of you held your own, I felt like, with the exception of a couple mistakes, and those mistakes were costly with the long touchdown passes and the things like that. I did not see, and I don't know if you guys did or not. There was I think they ended up calling it a touchdown. down the right sideline. The guy was wide open. Like there's nobody covering him. And I would assume it was just a communication error. Would that be safe to say?
That's definitely safe to say. It's some type of issue within the secondary with communicating. There was a loud crowd, a lot of screaming fans, but that's no excuse for them. They need to fix that, and that's something we'll have to fix going on throughout the rest of the season. Because once it shows up on film, that's an issue that will continue to come up. Yeah. So that's something that has to get fixed and corrected sooner than later.
Yeah, I was looking down.
An effort by Chiari to try and stop him, though.
Yes. I was looking down. I think I was typing something at the time, and I heard the crowd, and I looked up, and I saw the receiver running down the sideline wide open. And I was like, well, that's odd. That doesn't happen very often. Needless to say, I did not see the replay on it either, so I wasn't sure what happened on that one. Emory Jones, like I said, he had a good game, but he was sacked twice, including once by our very own Ryan Jackson. How good did that feel? I mean, I know, again, in the grand scheme of things, it's still a loss, but how good did that feel to get your hands on Emory Jones?
It felt great because, like, last season, I didn't really get any sacks. So to come out this season and start the first game of the season off with a sack, especially against a dynamic running quarterback, I had been able to slip through the pocket a couple times, and I had been able to get pressure throughout the game. But it was good to finally get one. Just finally get my hand one time. So I would say it's a great moment because of the work I put in just for that one play to get my one moment. So I'm always excited when I get plays like that.
Yeah, it's a sweet move. It looked like you stunted left. I don't know if that's the right terminology, and then came back to the right, and then underhook him. I'm not sure what your move was there.
I was playing. They did a lot of slide protections, and I had noticed that once I had popped off the center one time, they had started to leave that little gap open in between the center and guard because the center would stop paying attention after the first little initial pop. Mm-hmm. So after I popped off him, I was going to stunt as far as I could over to the guard to see if he would overset me. As soon as I felt him overset me, I got my hands. I was able to shift, ricochet back, and get back north on him because he gave up too much on the inside.
Yeah, I love that. I love that you're able to see that stuff going on and then setting it up. That's pretty cool. It's not luck by any stretch of the imagination. It's hard work, and then it's on top of hard work. It's studying, it's understanding and seeing things, and then making the adjustments in the middle of the game as well. That's pretty cool. Let's talk about your defense a little bit before we get to the offense. You mentioned him, Chiari, true freshman, started at cornerback. Frankie was out this game. Hopefully he'll be back soon. But Chiari looked good. I thought, especially for being a true freshman, I thought he really held his own out there. He was part of that miscommunication, but he made a huge play to try to make the tackle at the goal line as well. And then special teams too. I was really impressed with Chiari this week.
Right. Chiari McGlory is awesome kid, awesome character. He is a no excuse guy. He comes in, works, and it's yes sir, no sir, I'll get the job done type guy. And he's done that since he first got here to EKU, and I'm happy that he's continued that attitude. He's going to be special. He really is, and like got good size, ball skills, speed. The younger brother Keandre, but like that's besides the point. But he's just a heck of a person, heck of an athlete, and just an ultimate competitor.
Yeah, that family is athletic. Keandre is one of those guys. I've always felt like he could make a move to receiver if he wanted to. I thought Keandre has great hands and super athletic. I like to see him on special teams as well. But nonetheless, Chiari had his moments for sure. I tried to watch, and I don't know how much you can tell from a game like this. I tried to watch the rotation a little bit, see who was subbing in and all that kind of stuff. There's a lot of movement with the safeties, especially. I felt like the linebackers to some degree, but it felt like the safeties was still trying to figure out what it's going to look like the rest of the season. I don't know how much you pay attention to that during the game, other than just going out and playing. It looked like the D-line would come off to get a breather and then come back on, kind of a deal. But it looked like they were kind of fishing for finding that right connection out there in the defensive backs and things like that as well. Can you learn things from a game like this, or is it really – I mean, I know you can. Are you learning things as a team about yourselves, about how it's going to fit together? Or when it gets to a game like a 66-13 game, do you kind of have to put some of that aside and get into the next one?
Well, if you really watch the game, you notice we played a lot of guys that either haven't played football in a long time or haven't played at that specific level in a long time. And that's also still no excuse for any of them. Like,
Yeah.
we still have to go out and we still have to produce. But especially on our back end, we had a lot of guys that, like, it was Chiari's first big game, Tyreek Henderson's first big game, and you learn that, man, they still got to get their feet wet. You don't lose trust in them ever. You don't ever lose faith in them. You hope next week they bounce back and get better.
Yeah.
Or you see next week maybe they fix all the little details that we went over today. You see how their communication starts building. You see how maybe they find a different way to communicate amongst themselves. And that's where you find out if your team's getting better or they're okay and content with being the same way. I don't know how to, like, really answer it, other than I feel like in the secondary there's 4 good guys back there, and Nick, Mike, Reek, KJ, 4 solid guys, 4 great competitors, and I hope this week they really push each other to see who rise above the rest of them, who will do more for our team, who can produce more for our team.
Newcomer Logan Blake led the team with 10 tackles. He also had 1.5 tackles for loss. Nick Cheeley with 9 tackles. Deontay Bembry 7, and Jalen Harrod with 7 as well. I thought Jalen played really well. That's not a surprise, but I thought Jalen played really well as he's getting a bigger role again this year. Had a bigger role last year than what he had the year before. Bigger role this year as well, and he just flies around out there. I mean, he's out there making plays.
Jalen's done a good job of not only being able to read the field, but being here for so long, he's seen every block you could possibly give him. He's seen most of the route concepts you could possibly give him. It should come easier and naturally more to him. So that's probably the best and the biggest advantage Jalen has. Playing since 2020, he's seen all types of college reps.
Right. Very good. I didn't bring my notes with me. There was another guy, Chiare, made a great special teams tackle, running down on the punt coverage, huge tackle. There was another guy, and oh my goodness, Trey. Is there a Trey out there?
Yeah, Trey Good.
Yeah, he made a heck of a play too, out on punt coverage. I think it was the first punt of the game. Went down. It was open field tackle. Wrapped him up, brought him down immediately, and man, he looked really good out there. I thought something I mentioned to Coach after the game in the post-game press conference was, man, I thought special teams looked solid today. And he talked about he didn't love the blocking on the return team, but outside of that, he felt the same way. So you guys encouraged by what you're seeing out there with your special teams?
Honestly, it's great to see, because in my 4 years, our special teams hasn't been the best in the world, I'll be honest. But the way Coach Day's come in and tried to change up how not only he approaches special teams, but how he encourages it to us, obviously has worked. It's inspired guys like Keandre. It's inspired guys like Trey to go out there and really produce on special teams to show, make names for themselves. People aren't like, that might be Trey Gooden, or is it Trey Gooden? It makes a difference. It really does. And I think the way we go about meetings and the way we go about practicing special teams, we should continue to get better at those.
I love it. Offensively, let's get over there. Parker was Parker. He did have 2 interceptions, but 13 of 24. He had a touchdown, 177 yards. He got sacked 3 times. Jaden Smith, I mean, he's the man. Jaden Smith was incredible. 5 catches, 81 yards. In the first half, every ball he touched, he put an extra 20 yards after the catch. I mean, he was incredible out there. Clearly, the communication and the connection with Parker and him is solid as always. But man, what can you say about Jaden Smith?
What can you not say about Jaden? He comes to work every day and brings people to that level he plays at. What he plays like in the game, he plays like in practice. No matter what, he comes out there and he balls, whether that's inside drill where he's not even getting the ball. He's going to block whoever he can. Jado will outwork just about anybody to get to be the best. He'll do whatever he takes. And that's the one thing I love and respect about him, because not only does he do that and he's younger than me, it makes me want to be like Jado. Like, I got to hold myself to the high standard that he set. Like, he's coming out here. You would think of NFL scouts out there to see him every day.
Right.
How hard he legitimately works, and how hard he works, it shows on the field, and that's the product he puts out there. Yeah. Jado's an ultimate professional.
He's incredible. He's an incredible ball player. Jalen Burbage got the start. He was out there as well. A couple targets, couple catches. Hunter Brown got his first touchdown as an EKU Colonel, the first touchdown of the season. Over the middle, I think it was a 8-yard catch, I believe. I don't remember now the touchdown. 17-yard pass. That's what I meant to say for him. And he took on that role. Reese again didn't play. They had a lot of young tight ends coming in to kind of fill in and play different roles. You saw, well, I saw some things with that you could tell, boy, that must be a freshman. But that being said, Hunter Brown's not a freshman. He came in and played really solid as well, and I think he looks like he can be a real target. Not necessarily Dak-like, not saying that, but I think he can be a solid target moving forward.
All right, I told everybody to watch out for Hunter Brown. He is an awesome, not only person off the field, but great person on the field. Good character guy. Doesn't say too much, but comes to work. Just like Jado. He comes in, works hard, and he expects everybody else around him to work hard. He even told me one time he transferred to this division just so he could play better competition. That's the type of guy he is. He didn't really care about the name. He didn't really care about the gear, the cool little stuff. He looked at our schedule and he said he wants to play better people. So that's why he came. And nice. He is an ultimate competitor. He'll nudge you a couple times. He treats it like a game, and that's what I love about people like Jado, Hunter, Parker, Peyton, guys that come to work every day. And I hope that our team starts playing up to that level too.
How about Joshua Carter? This kid, he comes in 7 touches, 72 yards. He had a long run for 34, average 9.7 a carry. I mean, the way that the offense works, at least the way it worked last year and the way it worked in Cincinnati today, is it's like Braden gets the first series, Josh gets the second series. They gave Keandre the third series. And then as the game goes on, it starts to go a little bit down to who's running well. But Josh, I mean, from the first touch he had, he just said, I want the ball, feed me. And every time he got it, he did something with it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Josh is a great north-south runner. You give him a little bit of a hole, he's going to hit it. He's going to hit it as hard as he can. He's going to run as hard as he can. Josh, you think the way he breaks out of the line, you think he's going to score every time, and then you realize that he's not the fastest person in the world. But that's all I love to Josh. But he's a lot like the rest of my teammates. I got nothing but respect for Josh Carter. He has a brother in the NFL you would have never known unless you asked him. He comes in and he just produces. He's with a really good running back group. Like, he knows that, and he knows he has to compete with those guys each day to get his name up in the ranks. And then you give him a chance in Cincinnati, he pops off 7 rushes for big yards. Like, that's just what our team needs. He knows his role within our team. He knows his role is that, not power back, but north south, get us a good chunk of yards. Get us a good chunk of yards, Josh. And that's what he does. Yeah.
He's got it seems like great vision. He makes one move and then it's straight ahead after that. He makes one little juke and then he's going forward. And he may not outrun anybody, but he's going to get those yards, and he's going to pull some people with him to do it as well. Last thing I got for the Cincinnati game is Cam Hergott. He gets an opportunity in the fourth quarter. Now, granted, it was a change of pace from what Parker was doing, but all of a sudden this kid took off, and it's like, whoa. This kid is a one athletic dude, and Cam Hergott showed us what his legs can do. Just in that last quarter, he ended up with 6 carries, 45 yards, in a short amount of time. So I've asked the question already this year to a few different people. Knock on wood, but if Parker goes down, how confident are you? He's a different kind of player than Parker. No one's going to ask him to be Parker, but he showed he's got a lot of athleticism.
Mm-hmm. He goes back to what I think is the biggest theme with our team is competitiveness. Cam probably got in that game, thought he could still win. Honestly, that's how much he goes into games feeling he can win. He's uber confident, and I love it about him because he's one of the fastest people in the room. He works hard, and he knows he can learn from Parker. Like, he's not trying to step on any toes. Not saying he's not trying to be better or be the best. He plays his role, which his role is holding our kicks, which that is a great role for him. That gets him out there. And then once he gets his chance in the game, he likes to light it up. And that's the great thing about him. Like he's a great guy, a great competitor. Like I said, he probably thought he could win if he kept running. I told him he needs to stop running like that or he's going to get knocked out. Like, he needs to slide a little bit more, but that's whatever.
I did notice on the last field goal, Coach called timeout, which seemed odd. And then on top of that, they brought in the backup holder to hold as Cam was playing quarterback at the time. Do you know the thought process behind that?
I don't know the thought process behind it. I'm happy my boy Austin Welch got in the game, though. That's all that matters to me. Once I looked back there and actually noticed it was him, that was crazy because he's another guy. He's behind an All-American kicker,
right.
Patrick. He's behind it all, but he has never deterred him from kicking field goals for us. Never deterred him from coming back every practice trying to compete with Pat. And Austin's a great person, goes to FCA all the time. He's one of my better friends on the team. I love picking on him, but he's competing. Yeah. And it just doesn't matter to him that he's going against the All-American kicker. He's competing. Yeah. He makes Pat better. Obviously, Pat went, 2 for 2, 4 for 4, or however many field goals we kicked.
2 for 2 from field goals. And then the extra point was good as well.
And that might not happen if Welch isn't biting at his heels sometimes.
Right.
Trying to catch up to him.
Yeah, last year wasn't Pat's best year. And I'm sure having that competition is helpful for guys like that as well, because obviously Pat has the talent. There's no question about that. But yeah, I thought it was interesting. We were up there. I was actually chatting with a couple other guys, EKU guys up in the press box. And the timeout, I was just kind of like, why are we calling like let's go, And then I saw, oh, wait a second, Cam's not gonna hold this one, and I thought, well, that's really interesting. I'm curious. Maybe someday I'll ask Coach. I'm just curious, one of those things. That's an interesting decision to make, but that's cool. It's cool for anybody that got a chance to play, especially guys, as I'm guessing, Welch didn't think he was gonna see the field, and got the opportunity, and that's a tough thing to hold kicks. I mean, I've never done it, don't get me wrong, but I can only imagine the pressure that's there and everything that's going on there as well. You know what we're going to do? We're going to take a break. I just got a text message, Ryan, that our man Kiare can come join us. And so what I'm going to do is we're going to take a quick break, and I'm going to run a commercial, and I'm going to get this link over to Kiare, and we're going to get Kiare on the program. All right, let's take a quick break. We're going to hear from All Around Roofing, and All Around Roofing has been a sponsor of the program and does awesome stuff for us. Our All Around Roofing player of the game this week, we're going to give it to Jaden Smith just because he was dynamic along the way. So let's get a quick word from All Around Roofing. When we come back, it might be a couple minutes after we get back, but when we come back very shortly, we're going to talk to Kiare Maglore as well. Does the exterior of your home need a facelift? All Around Roofing has you covered. All Around Roofing is a locally owned company servicing Madison County and all of Central Kentucky. From roof repairs and replacements to gutters, siding, windows, soffits, chimney flashings, and more. All Around Roofing provides quality work and friendly service that will leave your house looking great. Call today, 859-489-5179 to get a free quote. That's 859-489-5179. We can handle your all-around exterior needs at All Around Roofing.
With over 20 years of experience, Matt Schaefer and the good folks at locally owned IPM Pest and Termite provides pest control service for all of Central Kentucky's pest control needs. Whether you have a current pest control problem or want to prevent infestation from ever entering your home, IPM Pest and Termite offers maintenance programs that will help keep pests out of your home and provide peace of mind. So for dependable, reliable services that you can count on, get in touch with our good friend Matt Schaefer at IPM Pest and Termite today at myipm.com. That's myipm.com.
Welcome back into the Sports Stove Local Hour. We just got done talking Cincinnati, and if you missed any part of the episode, you can go back on YouTube and check it out, or the audio version will be available on the podcast later this evening as well. While we're waiting, let's see here. While we're waiting for Kiare, we're going to talk about the competition coming up this week, and it's a segment that we're going to call our Pest of the Week. presented by IPM Pest and Termite. All right. Our Pest of the Week this week presented by IPM Pest and Termite. Visit myipm.com and get more information about that. Up next for EKU is the Kentucky Wildcats. About an hour and a half drive up to Cincinnati. Now only a half hour or less to get up to Lexington and Kroger Field. I'll tell you what, Ryan, I've been talking to a lot of people that I work with are big Kentucky fans and things like that. And they're excited about this. The tailgates are going to be up and going. I'm going to be swinging by and checking out a few different people's tailgates, skimping off of their food and stuff like that. So get it all ready to go. But Kentucky had a great week. They played Ball State in week number 1. They won 44-14. New quarterback in town for Kentucky, Devin Leary, 241, a touchdown and an interception. Now, you never got to play against Will Levis. Leary's not quite the athlete that Levis is. Not to say he's not an athlete, but he's not quite what Will Levis was. I would assume you guys started watching some film today or no?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely started watching some film on him today.
All right, so what are you seeing from Devin Leary, the O-line, what you're looking at going against?
It's another solid team we're gonna get to go against this week. I honestly need to get caught up on my history of EKU versus UK games because apparently they've all been pretty close. But they're another big team, big fast team. Quarterback makes a lot of good reads. I would say they kind of play like our team a little bit. It's a little slower pace, but the little intermediate routes, the little running game, and then the kind of bomb. I mean. It's another good, solid team. We're going to have to come in and play hard. We're going to have to communicate a whole lot better and get physical with them for sure because they're going to try and get physical with us.
Yeah, of course, Coach Will spent some time at UK. You've got 2 assistant coaches that played at UK, all that kind of stuff. I don't think it's this big chip on the shoulder kind of a thing. I think it's more of an excitement to go back for some of these guys as well. Of course, the in-state guys, it's a pretty cool opportunity as well. So a lot coming there, but Chiare's here, so we're going to bring him up. We'll talk more Kentucky in just a moment, but it's time for our guest here tonight, and it is a freshman cornerback, the one and only Chiare McGlure. Hey, man, how you doing? Oh, can you hear me? Oh, let's see here. I can't hear you. He can't hear me. It's okay. Don't worry. We'll figure it out. Are you there? He can. I can't hear you.
Barely hear you.
This is the great thing of live things. If you can hear me, Chiare, there you go. Good idea. He's going to go out. He'll come back in, and usually that does the trick. We'll see. But this is the great thing about doing it live. In the past, we've always done it recorded, and you can deal with some of these things as you go through. And but hey, I like doing it live better. It's a lot more fun for people to see the real aspect of things and how things work. But let's try him again. He's coming back on now. There he is. Hey, man, can you hear us? All right, hang on 1 second. We got all right, let's try that. Testing 1 2. Can you hear me? Oh man, your audio is you sound like an alien. Yeah. This happened once with Coach Prothrow too. You sound like an alien the whole way through. All right, is that better? Now I can't hear you at all.
Better now?
There we go. I got you. Yes.
All right.
Okay, now we're going to try to figure out, after I said that, we got an echo. All right, let's try that. All right, talk to me, Chiare.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
There we go. All right, I think we got it figured out. All right. We had to work hard on that one. Hey, welcome to the show, man. Congratulations on game number 1. You got the start. You played really well. We've already talked about you on the show. So tell us about that, what it was like. I mean, it's your first game not being a high school player. So what was it like going out there and playing?
I mean, honestly, first of all, the stage was surreal, and I was just really blessed to be out there with my teammates and give it all we got. Personally, I feel like our coaches did a great job preparing me like throughout my redshirt season. So whenever I took the field, I felt like I was really ready to attack the day. And I feel like I could have probably done a better job showing that, but we're definitely ready to turn it up again this week against UK.
I tell you, and I said this after the game. I saw you with your family out there in the tunnel, and I was impressed with your special team play, not just your corner play, but you went out there and made a play, great coverage, and all that kind of stuff. I mean, what is it that motivates you to? Because special teams depends on who you talk to. Some people don't like it. Some people love it. So, tell us what you saw on that play on your coverage tackle.
Well, because we have some different formations, and when I got the opportunity to split out wide, I thought, why not try some of the releases I've been working on and practicing? I got the best of the DB on that play and got downfield. And coach always tells us to just play fast through the numbers whenever you're playing the gunner, like take your shot. And I took my shot and made my play, and it was just really great,
Man, I'll tell you what, and again, being a freshman, even if it was a red shirt, it's that opportunity to get out there. When did you know you were going to start?
We actually had some unfortunate incidents with one of our other starting corners, and I was able to step up and be the guy that they needed to make the plays that were needed to be made. So, I just got in there and did what they asked me to do, and it all turned out all right.
Now, is it normal for you to attack the guy in front of you and take him out so he can't play?
Not very like me at all. I'd rather earn it the hard way.
Yeah, I understand, and obviously we hope to see Frankie on the field soon, and
He's coming
him running.
Fire.
There's room for both of you, right, on the field?
Yes, sir. Of course.
Ryan, what do you got for Kiari?
Kiara, you come from like a really good high school with your brother and all that, and y'all are super close. But like, I got a question: how do you separate yourself from just being Keandre little brother?
Honestly, I feel like that's where the energy of mine, I guess you could say, I have comes in. I just try to bring a lot of positivity and good vibes to the field and just be the best version of myself, like Coach Wells always talks about being. And, I just kind of really go out there and have fun and do my thing. I'm still young, but I feel like I've earned somewhat of a status on this team, and people respect me and I respect others, and I feel like we get along really well.
What's it like being did you play with your brother? I'm trying to think of your guys' age gap. He's what, 3-4 years older?
No, he's 3 years in age older, but only 2 grades ahead of me. So we got to play together for the last 2 years of his high school career.
Yeah, and you were down in Florida, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So having that opportunity, not just to play with them a couple of years in high school, but now to play with them in college, away from home. But you still got a sibling thereby. Is it cool to be on the same team? Obviously, you had a choice. So is it cool to be on the same team?
I hear about this all the time, and I just can say we're nothing but blessed to be able to play side by side with each other. Not like there's not many people who get this opportunity, and I mean we live together off the campus, and we got our little dog running around with like 2 co-parents. It's really great. It honestly is really great. We get along really well too.
Yeah, that's cool. Now I just said this earlier on the program, so you tell me what you think about this. I've always said I think that your brother's athleticism and pass catching ability is really, really solid. I always thought maybe he could make a move to receiver and take advantage of that.
Honestly, and respect to all of my receivers, but I don't think anybody on our team has a better shoulder shake than Keandre. He works on those 1-2 steps. He knows what he's doing with it. I tell him he can get out there and do some things himself.
I agree. I've always thought that's his biggest threat out of the backfield is his hands and receiving and things like that. If you guys are going one-on-one, you're covering him. How does that matchup go?
He's still a running back now. You know what I'm saying? I have to take me, but I will give him an honest 3 out of the 10 reps. I'll say he can get me a few times with the shoulder shake. I just got to give respect for respect's due.
I love it. That's great, man. That's great. Your family, I've seen them at several games. Do they come up for the games, or are they in the area now?
Nah, they come up whenever they come to our games. We're expecting to see them again in Lexington this weekend. Yeah,
that's pretty cool. I know we've seen Ryan's dad and mom and had a chance to meet his family and things like that as well. And I think it's cool when families can come up, especially when they don't live in the area. I mean, Rhino's dad's only a couple hours away, but yeah, that's a little bit of a trip to come up from Florida for sure. But I know it's exciting.
My parents and family, they're big on supporting us, and
Yeah.
we just really appreciate them. They're great.
Yeah. What is the thing that got you to the level you're at now? Obviously, let me put it this way. I know it's hard work, and I don't mean to take any credit away from the work that you put in. What else would you say has attributed the most to your success up to this point in your football career?
I mean, other than obviously God, I would say it was all the mentors and coaches that I've had in my corner. Like, I've always had somebody every year that I've played football and stepped on the field that was just really hard on me, but it was like a tough kind of love, and it always pushed me in the right direction on the field, and it's got me to where I'm at now.
Who's the guy on the team that, other than your brother, that you're able just to cut loose with like the most, where you just feel the most free around?
Honestly, there's a lot of great guys on our team, and I would have to say it's my boy Trey Gooden, number 26. He's just he's all energy, and we're like this. That's my brother there.
That's awesome. And you and Trey both made great special teams plays this week in Cincinnati.
We're always big on racing down on the field on punt and kickoff whenever we get the chance to. It's a great time.
Ryan, what else you got for Chiari?
I've pretty much asked this question to all kids that come from like Florida. I remember asking your brother this, but like, what inspired you to come to Richmond, Kentucky, out of all the places?
Honestly, with the way my recruiting went, I would say looking at all the schools, I felt EKU provided me with the best opportunity to come here and just give my all in football and really focus on football. Because obviously everybody wants to come to college for school, but at the end of the day, I'm trying to get to the league, and I felt like EKU was a great place that I could do it from.
I have never met a player who came to college for school. That being said, I'm not calling you a liar. I'm just saying, I mean, I wasn't an athlete and I didn't go to college for school. So
yeah.
that's just me. No, and Richmond's pretty cool. And it works for where it is, kind of tucked in, nestled underneath Lexington, and not quite in the mountains yet and all that kind of stuff. Richmond's a pretty nice place.
Yeah, I would say it's a good home away from home.
Yeah, it's awesome. All right, so what's next for you? What's the next goal, the next step, the next improvement that you're trying to make for this week against Kentucky?
Honestly, I want to get out there and make some noise on the field. I feel like I had some decent plays, like you said, the punt play, but I feel like I could make my presence a little bit more known for the sake of my teammates, and honestly do a better job communicating, because we did have a problem with that against Cincinnati, and I feel like I could be more vocal on the field to help others.
I'm going to ask this, and I don't mean it to be negative. I promise I don't. There was one play, and I wasn't paying attention, but it was the play where the receiver went wide open down the right sideline. You ended up catching him right at the goal line. What went down? Was it just a communication error? What went down on that play?
Yeah, we had a communication error from the sideline to the players, and some people didn't get the play in. And by the time the play developed, one man was cut free, and I did my best to try to go and save the day, make a play, but it was too little, too late.
Yeah, and you did. I mean, you were right there. I mean, it was so close.
Inches. It's crazy.
That's what football is, a game of inches. This week against Kentucky, you're going against a pretty dynamic trio of receivers at Kentucky, including the local kid, Dane Key, Barian Brown, Tavion Robinson, who is known as the athlete of the group there. But you guys got your hands full against this group, and I know that you guys are up for the challenge. And like I said, hopefully Frankie's back and all that kind of stuff too. But outside of that, again, I think I had a blast watching you this week. I didn't look at the depth chart until actually Saturday. And I got to the game. I looked at it before I left, and then got to the game and was kind of doing some reading and preparing and things like that. And I was like, "Oh my goodness, Chiari's going to be out there running with the ones." And not only that, but man, you made the most of it. And I know there are things that you're wanting to improve on, but I think it's a great start. And man, congrats on that. I know it didn't it didn't go the way you wanted it to. But congrats still on the opportunity. And I know there's a big things ahead for you. And we're looking forward to cheering you on against Kentucky this week. So, man, thanks for coming on the show. I know it's last minute, but, man, I really appreciate you coming on tonight.
Thank you so very much. And I appreciate you guys so much for having me. Blessed to be here.
Yeah, and tell your brother hello. We didn't mean to leave him out, but we'll get him on again sometime down the road. But hey, man, have a good one. We'll see you this weekend.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Kiara McGlure, freshman cornerback, EKU. Man, that was fun. And like I said, I'm a big fan. It was very, very quick for me to see him out there, see him hold his own. I thought, I like this kid. I like what he's going to show. And big stuff. All right, let's get back to Kentucky. Thanks, Rickson, by the way, for getting that set up here last minute as well. And I'm glad the audio stuff worked itself out as well. Kentucky, though, man, we just talked about it. 3 dynamic receivers. They got Liam Cohen, their offensive coordinator, spent plenty of time in the NFL. He's known for a guy that's going to throw the ball around. So you guys got to get to the quarterback. With the Cincinnati game, did you guys felt like overall it was decent pressure on the quarterback, or is that an area that needs to be improved drastically?
Obviously, it's an area that should be improved because you want to produce multiple sacks, not just 2 sacks in one game. But for us who rush mostly 3-man, I thought we put decent pressure on them. Obviously, I think we can finish more, but they were hitting us with a lot of 3-step stuff, so it's hard to get to the quarterback when he's doing 3-step drops and getting it out in 2 seconds is hard. But obviously, I feel like we can produce more as a D-line, as we should produce more. And I think we'll have a better opportunity to get more pressure on this guy, knowing he's not as mobile as the Emory Jones kid was last week. But we definitely need to make that an emphasis for this week.
By the way, shout out to Check Fall, strip sack, recovered the fumble as well. So that was a pretty cool play also. So I didn't mean to leave him out earlier when we were talking about the Cincinnati game. But again, another guy who's been around the program and gets the starting spot this week and goes out and does some damage out there as well. The Heat, late in the game, especially second half, we started seeing the cramps. Look, the offensive line was really struggling with it. But how hot was it down there on the field?
It was cooking for a second. It was really hot. Yeah, it was really hot. It took until about when the sun went down over past the stadium.
Yep.
That's when you probably saw more cramps because people kind of got a little bit more relaxed because it wasn't as hot and people weren't probably drinking as much.
Well, hopefully we learned our lesson.
Burning for the first couple quarters. It was hot.
When I started seeing the shade come onto the field, I thought, I bet they're loving that because it was toasty outside. I was in the air conditioning, but it was toasty outside. This Saturday, currently, the temperature is said to be 78 degrees. That will be a nice change of pace.
Right.
Ray Davis comes in from Vanderbilt, running back. He put up 112 yards, 2 touchdowns against Ball State. He's a good ball player. And I don't know where he's from originally, but do you know Ray Davis at all? Have you ever run into him?
Mm-mm.
No, he's from California. Okay. But he's a senior. He was at Vanderbilt for several years. He was good at Vanderbilt. He decides to come to Kentucky. I have a feeling he's going to be a pain in the side all day, whether or not you guys are tackling him. I think you're going to see a lot of Ray Davis.
Right. I hope we can really get to him before he gets started. He's a good size back, good, like not bowling ball looking kid, but he moves. He's good in open space. He's real good at hitting the gap. I'll give him that. And I hope we can get him before he really gets started moving. That's where you got to stop backs like that are good in open field.
Yeah. I will put out my preview of the EKU UK game probably on Thursday. It'll come out on bellyupsports.com, and we'll give my prediction. I was wrong in my prediction this past week, but that's okay. I did. So I have a friend. I do not gamble, but I have a friend who does. And I said, it's a lock for the over. It's 55 points was the set as the over-under for your game against Cincinnati. I said, it is a lock to be an over. And it was. I was right in that area at the very least. And but I'm excited. I'm excited to see what you guys do against Kentucky. I think that from what I can tell from the guys on your team, from your coaching staff, you're not going to let the Cincinnati game get you down, but you're going to use it as motivation to prepare better for Kentucky. And I'm excited to see what you guys do come out. You said it earlier. I don't have the numbers in front of me, but yeah, it's been close battles, EKU and Kentucky in the past. And Kentucky, granted, is a different program than what they were several years ago.
Right.
But nonetheless, I mean, come on, they're still Kentucky. So so we're looking forward to EKU, Kentucky this weekend, and seeing how you guys go and play against them up in Lexington. And then the following week, you guys get a home game. So you get basically, you don't have to go too far for the first 3 weeks of the season, which is nice, I'm sure, for you guys as well. What do we need to know? What do we need to be watching for the Kentucky game this weekend?
Hopefully better communication amongst the secondary. Hopefully a dominance on the line of scrimmage from both O-line and D-line. And hopefully we spread the ball out a little bit. Hopefully we get to throw it on them a little bit. But who knows? I don't know the offensive game plan all that much. I'm really just chattering. But hopefully a good competitive. I want us to at least put our best foot forward this time. To at least let's at least give them a show. I pray we win, and I will do all the preparation it takes to win. But give them a show.
Yeah, and I like what you said about spreading the ball around too. Last year that was something that happened all the time. In game 1 of the year, it was Jaden Smith, and wisely so. Don't get me wrong, wisely so. It was Jaden Smith, but I like to see a little bit more Hensley. Like to see a little bit more tight end action as well, and get that ball moving. Even Braden out of the backfield, the running backs out of the backfield. So I'm looking forward to seeing what comes next week. Man, big shout out to Kiara for coming on last minute, and Rickson for helping us get that set up. And thanks to our viewers as well for tuning in. Thanks to Ryan as always as well. I just got a leg cramp. But oh man, you played the game, but I feel like I've played a game. It stinks to get old, Ryan. That being said, we will be there Saturday. We'll have a preview, written preview on bellyupsports.com coming out later this week, and we'll have a recap after the game as well. And looking forward to all that. Ryan, hey, we're finally playing real football. That's the biggest positive from this weekend. Real football has been played. So no Ryan Jackson touchdown opportunities coming in and playing tight end in game 1, but that's okay. We'll keep that tracker going for the rest of the season as well. Thanks to our sponsors, IPM Pest and Termite, Mad Mushroom, and All Around Roofing for the support of the program as well. We're going to call it an evening. Thanks for tuning in to today's Sports Stove Local Hour. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Sports Stove. Until next time, we'll see you around the Sports Stove.